Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 26th, and while we've got a recovery from that collapse of my computer system, sometimes you run these programs and then had me do an update and something was corrupted and it destroyed my other system. So now I've had to transfer files and everything to try and get them up and going. But I've got a temporary solution here, so take advantage of it while we've got it, and hopefully I'll be able to get everything restored and back up in place. But looking at the ES, still within our modest short, we're seeing the reset of the ABM. Not the ABM, but in this case the shakeout. But yes, in fact, the ABM is getting tested here. We just finally moved below the yellow line, is what I was thinking about when I was looking at it. That's fine. It's nice and slow. We're getting subtle dips of the extreme just below the -45, which is green, which is a somewhat bullish indication. The fact that we've had almost a reset of the steel in that below, it's actually dipped below the red there. Midterm, short-term buyers, if they pop into this, we're going to see a little bit more activity. I mean, it's been a nice complete reset. So the fact that you're holding up in price means that when we get our next breakout move, it's going to be significant. So we're going to continue to move forward on that. The NQ, which had outperformed, is still doing just fine. I mean, it had the little weak move across there, but wasn't anything dramatic. I mean, we've got some positive extremes that go all the way back over through here that will have to get retraced. But beyond that, isn't a whole lot to be paranoid about. I think we had an extreme all the way back here as well. So on a breakdown, that's where you're looking at it, which is a couple hundred points. Not as significant as it used to be in the old days when you were back at 2000, 1000. But Dow has been the weakest of all of them. No change in that that spread right there. The fact that we didn't get a move above the cyan means that there is no bullish activity from this. The shorts are still applying into this configuration, though we haven't gotten to an oversold configuration. But I think the key is to watch dips below the green, 18,441, and then any move back up becomes the play. In this new system, I have to figure out how to use the mouse thing. You have to double click it, so I'm gonna have to go in there and make those adjustments, which was not so simple because this machine came from Italy, and so the language is complicated. USO, little dip, supported off the magenta, but short-term buyers only holding on it. So it's got the potential for a little more weakness to fade back in there. Gold, we talked about this one, it's starting to fall apart as long as it's below the green ABM at this particular point. Once the short ABM follow dips below the green, then you begin to follow the red. It's already started to move below the red line, so really nice weakness exposure right there. TLT isn't going to do anything because there just isn't anywhere to go, and the euro just a tiny pull back on this. Finally get the cyan above red then, so not too concerned about it yet. We're just starting to flatten out here, but with the blue and everything still rising on the shakeout, it's not quite done at this particular point. We can look at the case chart. We had that short that popped up way up here, 83 range, and following it down there, and now you're starting to see all the different numbers for the various categories, MBIs and that. Before my crash, I was just about ready to send out the update. Gonna have to apply a little bit more of the conditions for the GAN, but I'll probably release this version, which will be the buy sell test D3, and at least it has the variations, because you can see here when GAN comes in this particular case, we ended up with a unique situation that I was pointing out on the Skype chat, where normally when we get above this 7.5 for the cyan, it's automatic bearish short, except for when you've already achieved bearish status here with oversold, dip below the red line. So in this particular case, it comes a sign of positive. And even if you don't want to take the positive, you can wait for the actual signal. In this case, the GAM came right after it. And then the little asterisks that pop up here, those are going to be indications of the continuing move of it. And in this particular case, then when the steel moves across, you have your buy, but it turned around immediately and crossed back over. A lot of times, though, on a good up run, it will stay to the upside of it. and you get a nice continuation for it. This particular point ended up with a number 2 buy that started right here, but no close above the long algo. And then finally you can see this is where the GAM doesn't show up, but what it does is it gives you the number so you can see where it is. Only when you see the word do you know that it's arrived. The same thing's going to happen with the NBI, because this won't be qualified as well because of the number of closes that are below the long algo before it comes in, and then there are none shortly after this one. In fact, you would get that buy signal as soon as you crossed over to the long side. Look at the 71, and then it had a nice little run. Still came back to filling, got a little overbought, and that's what we're retracing right now, is the overbought right there, which should take us back to 70. So this is my little brief, contruncated version of a report. I'm hoping that everything will be back and uploaded, or at least my other website configurations and all that will be at least on a secondary system like this, so that should I ever have that failure again, I have a backup in place. So that's always helpful. In this particular case, some of the local programs like the audio recording of this, as well as the FTP updater, have been on the one select machine, so now I've got them in multiple locations, so that should solve that issue. And then verifying a lot of the information on the cloud, that's been the biggest thing, is finding the keys and all the verification items and remembering, the emails, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, hopefully that's done with and we can move on to the more important things, but getting these last conditions finalized so that the color change begins, because this would change to green going all the way through until we ended up with stop out and or cell signal. So as always though, look for me on that Skype chat. I'll be back and forth with it as I'm doing some of the programming, as well as trying to figure out how to get the proper USB boot set up so that I can restore my old system and hopefully not lose all the data. As always though, trade well. Talk again later.